Hey guys, MWUSA Season 5, Episode 123. This is going to be a special episode just about cashiers, cashing chips, buying in, cashing out, all the different things associated with buying chips and getting your money back out. This was originally going to be part of another episode, but it ended up being a little bit long, and that episode was going to be over an hour long, so I pulled it out. So it'll sound like it's part of another episode, but let's get right into it. This is all about buying chips and cashing out chips. Alright guys, we're going to talk about cashing out chips a little bit here. And as always, all the stuff I'm talking about here, I don't have any notes or anything. I'm driving right now on my way to a casino, and I just want to go over some information. If I miss anything, if you want me to add anything later on, let me know. We can do that in other episodes. But I want to talk about chips and cashing out, buying in, all that kind of stuff, and how things work, and what to do, what not to do. All right. So you walk into a casino, you're going to be spreading whatever, 25 to 250, and you buy in for how much? I'm going to buy in for 300, maybe 200. So I'm going to buy in for the least amount of money, and if I start winning, then I don't need to buy in for more. If I start losing, I can buy in for more. If I need to raise my bet, I could buy in for more. There's no issues there. But if I'm going to walk into a casino and I'm going to be playing 25 to 250, and I'm going to buy in for $3,000, you're going to get attention instantly. Why does this guy need $3,000? It's only a $25 table. Well, yeah, it's a $25 table. The max is $2,500. So technically, I mean, I could need that much, but it's going to bring attention to you. So when I'm buying in, I'm going to buy in for the least amount of money. I'm going to play. We're not going to talk about table play here at all. We're just going to talk about chips and cashing. All right. So let's say while I'm playing, I end up buying in for $9,999. Do I need to fill out a form? No. What if I buy in for $10,000? Do I need to fill out a form? No. You don't need to fill out a currency transaction report or a cash transaction report, as some people call it, until you're 10,001. The casino's going to say 10,000. It doesn't matter either way. If they want you to ID, they're going to ID you. If they're just looking for your information, they can ask for it at any point. If they just need it for a CTR, then you have a choice here. Are you going to buy in for that much? Or are you going to leave? I've been in situations where I decided I'm just going to leave. I'm down 8,600. I'm not going to buy in for any more. I'm going to leave. I'm down whatever, and I'm going to leave. Other times, it's been a hot shoe. Not a hot shoe, but a high count. And I'm betting, and I'm betting, and I'm betting, and I'm in 9,000. And I need to bet a $2,000 hand, and I'm going to buy in for 2,000 more, and then they may stop play instantly. If they're smart, they're going to stop play instantly, and they're going to say, okay, they have your cash on the table, they have it spread out, and they're going to say, I need to see your ID. Why do you need my ID? I have to. You're buying it for over 10,000. Okay, give me my cash back. No, I can't do that. So this is a point that's very, very, very important. Once you cross that threshold, they're going to hold you hostage until you give them that. Now, if you say, give me my money back, do they have to give you the money back? Yes, they do, but they're going to give you a really hard time. They're going to ask someone upstairs if they can give you the money back, and then they're going to take your picture. You're going to be on their radar no matter what. So just understand that may happen. Now, I've been in casinos where I've been involved for 14,000 and more, and they haven't asked me for ID because different tables didn't communicate with each other, or have spread it out over an entire day or whatever. These are things that you can think about. These are things that you can weigh in your mind. Am I going to buy in a little here, a little bit there? I mean, there's solutions to this I'll go over in a minute. Understand the situation before you get too deep, and understand they may ask you for ID, and have a plan whether or not you're going to give them ID before you get to that situation. Don't get yourself in a situation where you have a true 9 and now you want to buy in they ask you for ID and you say no, and you have to make a decision to abandon your True 9 or give them ID, and you're not sure what you're going to do. All right. Now, if you're going to play big, what's the solution to that? And you know you're going to be in possibly over $10,000. Well, there's a couple solutions. The currency transaction report is for an exchange of 10,001 or more in currency in a day, right? And you got to be careful of that too. What is a day? You know, see, a reasonable person like me and you might think a day is midnight to midnight, but their day might be 3 a.m. to 3 a.m. It might be midnight to midnight. It may be something different. So understand that if you played the day before and you left at 9 p.m. and now it's 2 a.m., it might still be part of their same day. Okay, so just understand the situation, know what you're doing. So my point is, if you get into a situation where you know you're going to be playing big and you could possibly cross that threshold, the solution is to have chips before you come in. If you show up the day before and then you buy chips, and then you can use the chips the next day. You hold on to the chips, you use them the next day, right? You could buy chips from other people. You can come in more than once. You can keep them from last time. Just understand, chip changes do happen where they say, okay, we're going to get rid of that series, and you have this much time to cash out the chips. Then after that, those chips are void. So, you know, understand, if you're not going to come back for 3 years and you have an $8,000 chip inventory, you know, make sure you know and keep track of what's going on at that casino. They don't change chips and then that inventory is worthless. Or in some states, I think they still have to cash you out, but then you have to do it by mail, and it's a big mess and stuff like that. So, okay. So now you have the proper amount of chips, and you're playing. So you're playing 25 to 250, and then all of a sudden you're pulling out purple chips out of your pocket, or whatever color the $500 chips are in that area. And now they're like, where's this guy getting all this money? They start running down your game. So be aware of when you're spreading big and you run out of cash or you run out of chips and you start pulling a lot more chips out of your pocket, that's going to bring attention to you as well. So be careful of that. So we talked about buying in, and we talked about how much I would buy in for under normal circumstances. We talked about if you cross the currency transaction report threshold, what happens. But what's also going to happen when you cross that CTR threshold? Well, they're going to put you in the system. They're going to have your name, and even though they told you that they need your ID for that, they're going to use your ID to put you in the system if you already have a card. If you don't already have a card, they're going to create a profile for you in the system, and they're going to start tracking you, and then they have your complete information. They could look you up if they want to in Biometrica, in OSN, in whatever, in their own internal database potentially. So your name is now out there, so be aware of that. Have a plan. If they ask you for ID, are you going to walk away? You buy in for $2,000 and you play that. You go to buy in for $500 more. They ask you for ID. Are you going to give it to them? Are you going to take the $2,000 loss and leave? So have all that planned out before you start playing. So now I played and I've got $4,500 in chips and I'm ready to leave. Right? Let's talk about how you're going to cash out. Are you going to cash out immediately? A lot of people are going to tell you, no, if you're a pro, don't cash out immediately. Go out the door, come back at another time, and cash out then, okay? Personally, I don't like to have a chip inventory. I've had chip inventories before. I've had $30,000 in chips at a certain place before, and I'm like, how am I ever going to get rid of these where their limit is 3,000? And even if I try to do 2,800, they're going to ask me for ID sometimes. So understand, chip inventory is good, but it can also backfire, and you can end up with a lot of your bankroll tied up in chip inventories. let's talk about this little sidebar here, then we'll go back to what we were talking about. One thing that I've done in the past is I've been friends with other players. I see them all the time. We're friendly with each other, and I'll see them walking around, and I'll say, man, I hate this place. Oh yeah, why? I hate this place too. They're always taking my money. No, man, I don't have my ID, and they're asking me for ID, or they won't cash out my chips. Oh really? I'll cash them out for you. So I've made friends with people before. I've talked about the one lady at one point where she's like, just come to my car and I'll take the chips and give you the cash. And she was such a nice lady to me, but that's the lady that got kicked out of the casino for saying F this, F that, all this stuff. And they manufactured a reason to get rid of her, which was that she assaulted them, because while she was yelling profanities at them, a little spittle came out of her mouth and landed near or on the dealer, and they called that assault. What is assault, by the way? Another sidebar. Unwanted touching is assault. Anything could be assault. Pit boss comes and puts his hand on your shoulders. You say, don't touch me. They touch you again. That's assault, okay? Even if they just touched you for the first time, that could be assault, okay? So assault is unwanted touching, and it's such a broad definition that you just have to be careful, all right? So she gets kicked out of this place. She was giving them so much money, man. Every time I'd go in there, she'd be down $7,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and they just couldn't put up with her mouth anymore, and they kicked her out. But before they kicked her out, can you tell I have ADD? But at least I'm unraveling this in order here. Before they kicked her out, at one point, she's like, yeah, come to my car. And I handed her like 10 or 12 or whatever thousand in chips. She said, how much is that? I said, 12,000. She handed me 12,000. She didn't even count the chips. She's like, here you go, because she trusted me. And she would always play with her cousin at the casino. Later on, her cousin started playing at the other casino that was nearby. And she eventually started going to that other casino. But I haven't seen her in a long time. So hopefully she stopped gambling, because it was probably destroying her life, because I would hear her on the phone giving excuses about where she was and what she was doing, and I'm sure that was a big mess. And casinos don't care, guys. I mean, if you lose every penny you have, if you're dying on a street corner somewhere, they're not going to help you at all. They really don't care. If you still owe them $500 and you're dying on a street corner, they're still going to sue you for the $500. They don't give two spits about you, okay? They really don't care. So don't give them any mercy, because they're not going to give you any mercy. Get as much money as you can from these guys, and just do what you can for yourself and your family, and don't worry about the casino, all right? So that's one way to cash out chips, is to have other people do it. You can sell it to other advantaged players. Now, I do want to mention, for example, I was at a casino, and they had a sign that said it's against the law to sell chips to other people. Get the hell out of here. It's against the law to sell chips to other people. Maybe there's a law that says something like that. I doubt it. But even if there is a law, how are they going to know if I sold you $500 in chips? Do you have to prove every time you go to the cashier that they're your chips? No, you don't have to prove that. And people can play unrated. People can have chips that aren't documented. Now, you got to be careful, right? Because if you have a $5,000 chip, that's going to be documented, right? And don't allow them to give you big chips like that, because if they give you a big chip like that and you're not in the system, when you come back and you try to cash it, they're going to give you a super hard time. They're going to ask you for ID. They're probably going to trespass you. It's going to be a big mess. Don't allow them to color you up that much. So lots of times, if I'm playing deep like that, I'm down $8,300 and I've got $6,000 in black in front of me, and I'm going to keep on playing. At the end of a shoe, I'll say, hey, can I color up part of this? I don't want to lose it back, or some stupid thing like that. And they say, oh, okay, no problem coloring it up. And you say, can I have $500 chips, because, I don't trust myself. I might go buy a craps table and throw a chip out there. I don't want it to be $1,000 chip. Who cares? Whatever you have to say, don't take chips higher than $500. And some small casinos don't take chips over $100, all right? Know the casino that you're playing at. Know what the rules are. and be really, really, really careful not to violate those things and cause a big stink, because the last thing you want to do is call gaming and be right, but you brought so much attention to yourself that you screwed yourself over, right? So while I'm playing, I'm going to color up incrementally, slowly, and I'm going to have those chips in my pocket, out of sight, out of mind. Another reason is I don't want to have $6,000 in black in front of me, and then the surveillance people change shifts and they see a guy with all those chips and they start monitoring me more. I want to have less in front of me as much as possible, right? Even if they are putting it in the system that you have 8 $500 chips in your pocket, I don't care. It's still different than visually someone in surveillance seeing those chips on the table, all right? Or having that extra 4,000 in black, or God forbid 4,000 in green in front of you. You got a mountain of chips in front of you, and you don't understand why they suspect that you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, or that they don't want you to be doing. So be careful of that. I'm buying chips. I know my CTR limits. I know that I can offload chips to other people. I can sell them to other players. I can come back later. I can have my wife, my girlfriend, my friend, my cousin, my neighbor, whoever cash chips for me. I'm going to keep my chip increments, not increment, but chip size. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Below 500 or less at most places, sometimes 100 or less, depending on where you are. And then I'm going to know what their policy is at the cage, right? So I went to a casino for about 5 years, and their policy is $2,000 before they ID you. And if you have 19 or 18, they're going to ID you. So because it's close enough, or they have an excuse. Well, how do I know you didn't cash out some earlier in the day? Well, you don't. I'm keeping it under 2,000 for a reason, but now I'm going to keep it under 17, right? So I know at that casino not to do more than 2,000. Well, sometimes they have multiple cashiers. Sometimes they have a poker room. Well, at this place, they had a poker room. They shut down the poker room. So now all they have is one cashier. So if I have over 2,000, I'm going to cash out 15, 14, 16, and I'm going to take off. I'm going to come back in next time. This is the way I did it. I knew when the shift change was for the cashier, and it was different because for the pit, it was 11 o'clock for the pit bosses, noon for the dealers, and 8 a.m. for the cashiers. So I know what time the cashiers change. If I come in at 7 a.m. and I play, and then I'm going to go to the cashier first and cash out some chips from last time. Then I'm going to go to the table and I'm going to play. Then I'm going to come back when that cashier is on break, go to a different cashier and cash out. Then I'm going to come back on the next shift. I'm going to play with the different dealers, different pit, different surveillance, and then I'm going to cash out again. I can do that. But why do that if you don't have to, right? If you're going to be coming back to that place over and over again, then you know how much money you're able to do at a time. You know that you're going to reuse chips next time anyway, all that kind of stuff. So, you can figure all that stuff out and keep under the radar without having to argue with them. Can I cash out 8,000 in chips at that location without giving ID, even though their limit is 2,000? The answer is yes. But why would you do that? Do you really want to get gaming involved? Do you really want to bring that much attention to yourself? Do you really want to be on the radar? And the answer is no. If you're never going to come back again and you want to have a fight and you're doing a YouTube video and all that stuff, then whatever, knock yourself out. But I'm not going to do that, right? So tricks that I've done in the past are what I've just mentioned. I've gone to the low limit cashier, high limit cashier, poker cashier separately, and I know that the poker cashier in some cases, in some smaller rooms, can't cash $500 chips. So what I'll do is I'll have like $1,200 in black in my pocket, which I'm going to end up taking to the poker room, and then I'm going to have $500 chips, like 3 $500 chips and the black at a place that has a $2,000 limit. I'm going to cash out $1,600. Go to the cashier, cash out $1,700, go to the poker room, cash out $1,200 in black. I've even sat down at a place. Actually, it was the last time I played this place too. I would sit down and play poker for 20 minutes or so, and then go cash out. So what I did was I would go to the poker cashier, and I still had $2,000 in purple chips, $500 chips to cash, and I would buy in for, let's say, $300 for the table, and give them $600. I'd give them like 2 purple, and get $700 cash and $300 in chips. And then when I see that the cashier changed, I would come back with whatever I had at the table, $305, $285, whatever it is, and another purple chip, and cash that out at that cashier. And so you can get creative and cash out a lot, but be really careful. Understand what their rules are. I played at one casino where their limit was $3,000, and I wanted to have a fight with them. I tried to do it at $35. It was a big mess. It's not worth it. Just don't do it. I mean, some of these places will hold their ground forever. They don't care what the law is, and they're gonna say, "Well, call gaming." And I've had gaming say, "Yeah, they're not allowed to do it." It's going to be so many hours before someone can come talk to you. Then gaming sometimes asks you for your ID, so we know who we talk to, and then sometimes they'll share that with the casino against your Fourth Amendment rights to privacy. So just be really careful. I hope this guide helps you a little bit. I'm sure I missed some stuff. There's a lot of other details. But don't get the bigger chips. $1,000 chips, they probably won't record the person's name, but they're going to ask you for ID most likely at the cashier, unless it's like the Bellagio or something. $5,000 chips, they'll usually pin that to your profile. And I've had people tell me that they were given a $5,000 chip at a poker room, and they changed it out for someone, and they got screwed over because it wasn't attached to their profile. Just be really careful what you do and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully this was helpful. Right now, I'm still 2.5 hours away from my first stop, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.